George Bernard Shaw once asked, "Who is this Baby Ruth, and what does she do?" Today I will make the case that Babe Ruth was the greatest baseball player of all time. I will demonstrate my case with factual data, as well as refute a couple of the more common arguments against Ruth having been the greatest all time. Ruth's critics will make claims like, he couldn't run, or all he ever did was hit a home run or strike out. In fact, Ruth's worst season, 93 strikeouts, didn't even approach the MLB record of 223. Ruth was essentially without a weakness in his game. His batting average still ranks 9th, his on-base percentage 2nd, and his slugging percentage is still the highest all time in spite of the steroid era. Could he run? 136 triples and 123 stolen bases indicates that he could. Now let me establish my criteria for determining the greatest of all time. Let's start with team success. Ruth played in 10 World Series, and he won 7 of them. He was the tide that lifted all boats, making the players around him better. And a large number of his teammates went to the Hall of Fame as well, thanks to the success Ruth made possible as a centerpiece of the teams that he was a part of. Athletic ability is another criteria. Ruth brimmed with natural talent. Raised in a Catholic orphanage and school that had baseball teams for every age, Ruth played on the 12-year-old team when he was 8. And by the age of 12, he was on the varsity. Up until the last couple of years he was at St. Mary's, he played catcher with a right-handed mitt. However, his catching career ended one day when he made fun of his own team's pitcher who was having a poor game. To teach Babe a lesson, Brother Matthias, the priest who coached the team, put Ruth on the mound, only to uncover another of Ruth's talents. Ruth's strength was also legendary. He wasn't just known for hitting home runs, he was known for hitting them so far. Though home runs were not officially measured in that day, it's estimated that Ruth's longest home run traveled 802 feet. Thirdly, personal achievements certainly play a factor when discussing all-time greats in any arena. And in fact, it was as a pitcher, not a hitter, that Ruth was originally recruited to play professional baseball. As a pitcher, Ruth began to rack up the personal records that would lead to him being considered, by the tender age of 21, the best left-handed pitcher in the game. Now, it's tempting to blow you away with Ruth's numbers. He's still among the career leaders in many statistical categories. So, and this is a bit more fun, let me put Ruth's accomplishments in the context of his era. Most people are aware of his 714 home runs, but in modern times, with steroid users like Barry Bonds having broken many of his records, 714 home runs is not as impressive as it was in Ruth's day. If you were a baseball fan in the early 1900s, you would have been accustomed to seeing the pitcher and infielders intentionally and legally scuff, soil, cut, and doctor each new baseball that came into play so as to make it as difficult for the batter to see as possible. This was an age when the twine inside the ball was loosely wound. The result was, relatively speaking, a very soft ball. It was legal for pitchers to throw a spitball. Between 1911 and 1914, Frank Home Run Baker won 4 home run titles with 10, 11, 12, and 9 home runs in what has since been deemed the dead ball era. So if you were a fan in those days, what you would have witnessed was the unimaginable. Already a star pitcher, Ruth began playing outfield part-time in 1918 and promptly became known as a power hitter, leading the league with 11 home runs. Over the next 3 years, Ruth's home run totals would grow exponentially: 29, 54, and 59. Remember the last time someone broke the home run record by doubling it? Neither do I. In 1920 and 27, Ruth hit more home runs than any other team in the league. He was the first player to hit 30, 40, 50, and 60 home runs. Pulitzer Prize winner George Will sums up Ruth's dominance like this: Babe Ruth erupted into baseball like an Everest in Kansas. There was no one like him before, no one remotely like him. In his 3rd year as a full-time player, that is his 3rd year not as a pitcher, just 3 years, he held the career record for home runs. He went on to break his own record 577 times, and when he retired with 714 home runs, The man in second place in career home runs, then Lou Gehrig, had fewer than half the number that Ruth had. There's never been a disparity like that, a talent so disproportionate to what had come before. Over the years, many of Ruth's records have fallen. Roger Maris broke the single-season home run record with 61 and 61, though the expanded MLB season gave him 8 more games in which to do it. Hank Aaron broke the career home run record, but he needed 2,896 more trips to the plate to do so. And of course, Ted Williams surpassed him in on-base percentage. However, Ruth is the only name consistently near the top of almost every offensive category because he was, without a doubt, the greatest player ever to put on a uniform.